Welcome back. In this video, we are going to talk about the JavaScript engine and runtime. This is a very important topic for everyone who wants to understand how JavaScript works behind the scenes and how it executes your code. By the end of this video, you will have a clear idea of what JavaScript engine is, how it parses, compiles, and executes your code, and what the JavaScript runtime environment is. So let's get started. Now, the JavaScript engine is a program that runs JavaScript code. It takes your code as an input and converts it into machine code that can be understood by the computer. Now, there are different JavaScript engines such as V8, SpiderMonkey, and JavaScript Core, but they all follow the same basic steps to run your code, and these steps are parsing, compilation, and execution. Now, first, we are going to talk about parsing. Now, the engine reads your code and break it down into smaller pieces called tokens. These tokens are then organized into a data structure called an abstract syntax tree or AST, which represent the structure and meaning of your code. And then we have compilation. Then engine takes the AST and convert it into bytecode, which is a low level representation of your code that is closer to machine code. Now bytecode is faster to execute than the original JavaScript code, but it still needs to be interpreted by the engine. Now the third step is execution. The engine runs the bytecode using an interpreter, which is a program that executes the instructions one by one. The interpreter also performs optimization and JIT compilation, which means that it can compile some part of the bytecode into machine code on the fly, making them even faster to execute. Now, the JavaScript engine also has a memory heap and a call stack. The memory heap is where the engine allocates memory for the variables and objects that you create in your code. The call stack is where the engine keeps track of the function calls that you make in your code. Every time you call a function, the engine pushes it onto the call stack, and every time you return from a function, the engine pops it off the call stack. Now the call stack works in last in, first out order, which means that the last function that was pushed onto the stack is the first one that is popped off. Now the JavaScript runtime is the environment where your JavaScript code runs. It includes JavaScript engine but also other components that provide additional functionality to our code, such as the web APIs, the event loop, and the callback queue. The web APIs are the interfaces that allow your code to interact with the browser or the operating system, such as the DOM, the XML HTTP request, the set timeout, and the console. Now, the event loop is the mechanism that handles the asynchronous events that occur in your code, such as user input, network requests, or timers. The callback queue is the place where the callbacks that are associated with these events are stored until they are ready to be executed. The event loop checks the call stack and the callback queue and decides which function to run next. If the call stack is empty, it takes the first function from the callback queue and pushes it onto the call stack. If the call stack is not empty, it waits until it becomes empty. And that is it for today's video. In this video, we learned about the JavaScript engine and runtime. We saw how the engine parses, compiles, and executes our code, and how the runtime provides additional feature to our code, such as the web APIs, the event loop, the callback queue. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.